Hey everyone, I just got back from a 10-day vacation and well, I have some fish and well, I wanted to feed my fish, so I decided I would buy a automatic fish feeder device. So I picked up this Nutrafin Nutramatic 2X. Nutramatic 2X. Okay, anyways, I'll get serious. Well, let's get into it. Okay, so let's get at it here. So basically this thing, they don't make anything really well these days. I'm not criticizing the company. I'm not getting paid by them either, so I don't really care. Just to start off with, basically this thing, it's battery operated. You put food in here in this little round drum and it spins around and dispenses the food. Just to start off really quick here, there's a little flap that's normally on here, and as it rotates around, it opens up and the food drops out. In some cases, depending on how you mount this thing, you don't want this on. Whoops, you don't even want that thing on there. But if you take it off, be forewarned, it's probably going to break and you won't be able to use it again. But that's okay. It doesn't really do anything. It's really not functional. So basically, all it is a drum that spins around, and this Nutramatic, the 2X thing, I was laughing about that. All that means is that it dispenses twice in 24 hours. So every 12 hours, it will spin and release some food for you. There's no switches, there's no on and off. You basically put the battery in, and when you check your clock, when you put the battery in initially, when it spins that first time, that's the start of the timer. So, basically if it's sunny out at 7 in the morning and you want to feed your fish at 7 in the morning, you better fire it up for the first time at 7 in the morning. And then it's going to go off again at 7 at night. And I'll just show you real quick here. So the batteries are in the back here. Does not come with batteries because, they're too cheap. And this is what I'm talking about. So if the batteries were out and I just put it back in, that's the initial spin. And as you can see, it dispensed some food there. That's good. And you don't want great big flakes in there, so if you have great big flake food, you want to kind of crush it up a bit, make them smaller. And the second really important thing, once you get the food in there, I'll show you how to do that in a second, but there's an adjustment here. This little fin thing, as it spins around, it grabs the food. Now it makes there's a gap there which is adjustable, so that basically regulates how much food gets released. And it's very important to do testing. Test it many times to make sure it's going to work properly, but you can adjust that gap simply by moving this back and forth. So there's a really big gap down to basically nothing. If it's all the way closed, that's not good. Your fish are going to die. I found 3 little notches back seems to work pretty good. Alright, so moving along here, there's different ways to attach this, and it comes with this little, I guess, clamp here. Now you can hook this onto the tank. Use your imagination a little bit. If you have your fish tank, you just clamp this on, it just screws on and holds it in place. Now the bad part about that is that you need a spot in the back of if you have a fish tank hood, you need a spot to a hole back there. I didn't want to cut out another spot on my fish tank hood, and since I already have a standard hang over the edge water filter on my fish tank, all I ended up doing was I set this on the hood of my tank, and it just basically hung over an open spot that already existed. So that way I didn't have to do any fiddling around and cutting up a tank. So as I said, battery operated. Make sure you buy some good batteries. There's no on-off switch, it just goes. So it's pretty much all there is to it. One thing to point out, when you get this unit, make sure that the opening, you see this here? Make sure it's at the top before it fires up. This needs to be at the top. It can't be anywhere else, or else it's going to mess up the operation. So you might have to just adjust it a little bit. Now to get food in there, of course, just a cap. It's not the easiest to get off all the time, but basically you have to hold here and then turn it, and then you can, you know, put your food in there and then put it back on. It's a little bit difficult actually to, there we go. So there you have it. I mean, I used this for 10 days. My fish were still alive. This thing costs about 20 bucks. You can buy fancier ones that are 40, but they really don't do anything more. They're pretty much exactly the same. It would have been nice to see one that's actually programmable, so you could program the times when it feeds your fish, but you know, no luck with that. As a backup, because I mean, it worked out fine, so that's good. I mean, it did its job. But as a backup, I also bought some of these Tetra Vacation. This is a 14-day little puck of stuff. It's, you know, it's just basically, it's food that's stuck onto a gelatin. They do seem to work really good. You just throw them in your fish tank and they sit around and the fish will pick at them. But as a backup, I'd definitely throw a couple of these in. You know, if you have a smaller tank, throw a few in, just in case something goes wrong with this thing. And there you have it. I hope this was helpful. As I said, I'm not very impressed with the quality of these items they make these days, but yeah, it did the trick. So if you need something to feed your fish and you don't have anyone to do it, something to consider. As I said, it did work out for me. And there you have it. Have a great day. Like, subscribe, come back for more.